Hey, North of Warfers. Today is a dream come true for all of us, especially fans out there. So we have not one, but two Emmy-winning writers on the show today. And they have been writing for Bob's Burgers for over 13 seasons at this point. They are co-creators of the amazing show, The Great North. And it's just the hits just keep coming for them. So I cannot wait to see where we go with this. But they have been gracious enough to come on and answer just a few questions. Just a few. And we are beyond excited to get started. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it is our privilege to introduce Wendy Molyneaux and Lizzie Molyneaux-Logelin. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you for coming on, guys.
Of course. Hi. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Starting off strong. We're starting
off
strong.
Very strong. Yeah. Not nervous at all. We're good.
So first, I want to start by thanking you for coming on and visiting us at the Toddland booth. That was very fun. Todd had tapped me on the shoulder, like, "Hey, I want to introduce you to somebody." I was like, "Yeah, I'm working, but I got time." Sure. He's like, "Oh, it's Wendy." He's like, "Oh."
Because I'm terrifying. That's why.
No.
I had on my usual full Frankenstein makeup that I always wear.
Oh, no.
So no, I was excited to go to the Toddland booth. I mean, after how so many years of being away from Comic-Con, just to like see the Toddland booth, it's like almost made me cry. Like it's just so exciting. It was really, I found the whole weekend to be just exciting and fun, and I felt so energized, and then of course felt extremely tired. But I don't know about you guys, but it was just a real treat to see you there.
Oh no, it was our first time, so it was hurt backs.
Oh, that was your first time?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't know that was your first time. Oh my God, you may have told me, but I was so absolutely frazzled that weekend that I don't remember.
That makes sense. Thing. You were planning a panel. It makes total sense.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was exciting. We actually got to go to that panel. We they canceled the Bob's one on us.
Yes.
We were to go to the Great North.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had logistical difficulties.
Thank you guys for coming. It was obviously our first panel.
It was ours as
well. Real, in-person panel. We did we did some
the virtual
Zoom ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's obviously it's a lot different going up in front of in that big of a room instead of just looking at your screen. So thank you for coming. That's awesome.
We were like so worried we were gonna miss it.
I know Comic-Con, it just feels like no matter what you're doing at Comic-Con, you're like worried you're about to miss something.
Oh yeah, so we tried to schedule everything, but I mean something's always gonna slip by, and you're never where you need to be, and when you are, it's on the other side of the building, and it's a whole to do.
Yeah, remember, no running, Mike. No running. They announced it like all the time. You just see people sprint by, and it's like, no, it's not. Listen to that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So we'll jump right into it. I know time is of the essence. So again, thank you for coming on, and we'll get right.
Of course, yeah.
So you both joined Bob's Burgers in the very beginning in 2011. You've been there from the start. Mm-hmm. Do you have a favorite character you like to write for? Out of all of them.
I would say that Gail always holds a special place in my heart. In addition to all the Belchers and Teddy, all the regulars. Gail first appeared in our first episode, Art Crawl, and is played by our beloved muse Megan Mullally. And so there's just so many things about Gail that I connect with. I don't know about Lizzie. And then I'd say of our recent favorite is probably Nat, who also first appeared in one of our episodes, who just, we love Jillian Bell, and there's just something about Nat that makes us want to write episodes for her again and again. So of the guest stars, those would probably be two of my faves. Lizzie, I don't know about you.
It's hard. Obviously it's amazing to write for, our whole family. I feel like that's kind of a gimme because they're always in the episodes, and it's hard
it's a joy every time.
Yeah, it's sort of like picking your favorite child or something to pick one of them out. Like I think it's always sort of fun. We've done obviously Tina episodes, Gene episodes, Linda. Like it's sort of fun to get to, at this point, since we've been on for so long, to have done we've really done an episode for each character, which is great. I think in addition to Gail and Nat, it's always fun to write for Regular Size Rudy. It's like a sort of a little sweet, soft place in my heart. Brian Heskey's so funny, and he's just such a great little character. Also, I mean, it's so fun to, I would say when we did an episode with Courtney in it, I've found that to be incredibly thrilling and delightful, because she's just such a strange character, and Dave Wade's obviously hilarious. Like, just hearing him do Courtney's voice, like, it's immediate laughter when he just says the first line in the script of a table read. You're just like, I love this. So I think those might be two other picks of mine that I love to try to include in our episodes.
I have a quick question. Since you've seen him do his voice, does he actually put something in his mouth to get that sound?
I am having trouble remembering.
I know it's been a while.
Yeah, and I feel like and I feel like when we got, like, the last time, I remember getting ADR for him, but I feel like it was during the pandemic, so I cannot remember. I feel like he does, though. I feel like he does actually put something in his mouth.
Okay.
It sounds like he does.
It sounds don't right.
Quote me.
Mm-hmm. I'm like,
wait, don't quote you, Lizzie. This is you have to be. You simply must be quoted.
Quote me on that.
Being recorded.
It may or may not be correct.
Don't record me. Bleep all this. Just one long bleep is what we're looking for.
And then should we just do a shock, like, no way? Like, no one will know.
They're like, what did she say?
Holy shit.
No, you actually mentioned something that is, at this point, seems like something from a bygone era, but the table reads. They've done in-person table. A favorite moment from a table read?
Oh, gosh. I'm trying to think
it's been so long.
I mean, I remember the Bob's 100th anniversary, 100th episode one that we went and did at the Fox lot, and that was pretty special. So that one always stands out. There was like a cool burger cake and like our grandma came. So that's memorable to me because of, I don't think anyone else will say that they remember that one because of my grandmother, but I do.
We'll ask around.
I'm trying to think star wise, if there was someone where I felt really, for me, like less so than a table read when we recorded David Diggs for Boys for Now. I felt like I would simply pass away.
Yeah.
I mean, I told Lauren, I was like, I'm not allowed to speak with him because I don't know what will come out of my mouth. Like it's interesting who you're starstruck by and who you're not. Like, I feel like I could meet a massive star and not be as, and to me, David Diggs obviously is a massive star, but I mean, I feel like I could meet Brad Pitt and stay like kind of cool, but like with him, I was like, please simply do not let me speak. And that was a winning strategy for me. Lizzie, how about you?
I mean, similarly, table read's hard to pick one out just because, I mean, they were such a constant, it was like sort of a weekly occurrence. So we did so many, and I have probably 1,000 memories that are special and unique. But I would say the one thing I do remember, especially like memories from being in our old original Bob's Burgers building, was the old bento offices, was when John Hamm came to record.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God.
At the toilet. And it was, Mad Men hadn't finished yet. It was still airing. And he was, I mean, it's John Hamm. He's like the best actor on TV. Like, he's just this presence. And he came into our little building. And like, we went back to Matt Beville's office and recorded some of his ADR. And like, I was so like, just silly, but I was like, can I get a picture with you? So I have like a picture with me and John Hamm like in my office with like all the like weird pictures of my dog in the background and like trash all over my desk. So it was a really fun experience to get to record him.
The first office was notable in that, much like Bob's Burgers, we did have rats. So we were invading John Hamm into a literal rat's nest to record our little rat show with him,
We also hear it was haunted. So.
Yes, we did hear that.
I never experienced any hauntings. But Lizzie, did you experience any hauntings?
No, never. But I know people that were there like working super late or like over, the security people that were there. That there was things were
never heard
flying
any
off
of this.
the walls. Yeah,
what? I never heard any of this.
Yeah, something like flew
the
off
hell?
the wall.
Everyone kept it a secret from me.
I think
Mario didn't tell me till after I visited him at like 11 p.m. He's like, "Oh yeah, it's haunted." I'm like, "Oh shit!" Well, had I known that, I wouldn't have gone.
Mario hid it from me too. I've got a bone to pick with Mario. A ghostly bone.
And before we go any farther, I feel like I have to apologize, and I believe, if I remember this story correctly, I have to apologize to Wendy.
Oh no!
So, yes, I went to a table read for V for Valentine Detta.
V for Valentine Detta. Okay.
The Hurt Soccer. It was a twofer. Me, my now wife, my friend, and some other people who I won't name because I don't want to get them in trouble. So we all sat down in the room to do the table read, and we were sitting in the chairs in the cramped little room, and there was one chair left, and somebody had come up and asked to sit down, and my friend said, "No, we're saving this for somebody." And then that person who she turned away walked away, and we were like, "Good job, Jamie. Yeah, tell him we're waiting for our friend." Come to find out, I believe that was you. And
I have no memory of this.
Yeah, probably not.
Sorry to disappoint, but I probably was just like, yeah, that's fair.
No, it's fine because I turned my face like,
that's fair. I turned me away.
I turned me away. I mean, look at this. Who's saying yes to this? That is again, I scare people. I was probably in my full Frankenstein makeup again, and no one wanted it.
He was like, "Yeah, that was Wendy Mom." It was like, "Fuck." All right, well, we're never coming back, so I guess.
I do not remember this, and I live to sit another day.
Now that we know, I don't know if we can go on.
Can we log off?
The rest of this?
Yes. This is JB. Definitely not Mike.
Yep. I'll just boot Mike.
JB.
I've never been to a table read, so I wouldn't know, Mike.
It's so weird how much we took for granted.
I know.
Little did we know.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking I'd pay like $200 to go to a table read. Right?
Yeah, to like go to work. Well, we just went back to the office, for Great North, and it is literally an experience I would pay to have. Like after being gone for over 2 years, I still I sent out an email right before this podcast. Someone had sent like something to the whole staff, and I replied like, "Can't wait to see you all tomorrow." I mean, what an absolute goon I am. Like telling my work friends, "I can't wait to see you tomorrow," just because I mean it. I cannot wait to be in the presence of people now. And it's just a thrill, an absolute thrill.
So is everybody back in the office now, or is it if you can make it, you can?
Like a slow return.
It's a slow return. Our writing staff for Great North is back. And some people are starting to trickle in from production, or they're starting to come in and like get their offices set up, and people are slowly rolling back in. For us, it was just, we were very motivated to get the room back together. We did our, season 1, we were there, 6-7 months, and then we got sent home, and, we never had an opportunity to have the writers room together again after that, which is, it was definitely amazing that we could work during the pandemic, obviously, but it is tricky to get that same feel over Zoom of having that ability to, I don't know, just like goof around and kind of get to know people. That is so important when you're like in the early seasons of a show. So we were very excited to get back together, and yes, more and more people are coming in, and hopefully it'll be somewhat normal-ish soon.
Have you run into Simon and his mini bike?
I haven't seen him on his bike. We've seen him outdoors. People go outdoors to eat their lunch still and all that. So we've seen him out in the great outdoors.
I just like imagine like someone's like, "Hello," and then just like goes around the corner, like, "Oh, hi," and like just zoots around. He's like, "Welcome to the office."
I know. I need a little bike to ride around the office.
So looking back, you guys were there from the beginning, and now it's season 13. Did you ever imagine that this little show would turn into what it is with a movie and 13 seasons, and like everyone's saying like, "Oh, it's going to take over the Simpsons slot. It's going to be the thing"?
No, I mean, I think I'll speak for myself. Like it was my first, writing job ever. I was, 25. I had no idea what I was doing. I was like pretty much just terrified the whole first year we were there. Like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this. I'm so nervous. So I think I was just like, at first I was like, when is everyone going to realize I'm terrible and make me leave? And then it was like, we got through those first couple seasons of, we weren't on, I don't think, any streaming or anything yet. And once that kind of picked up, obviously that sort of helped the show, I think, reach a lot more people. And it became this, what it is now, which is this just enormous hit and this, the part of culture that is like undeniable. And then, I feel like, and then similar to what Wendy was saying earlier, like it was just kind of, it just became this part of our lives. I think that has just been unwavering now for so many years that I don't stop and think about it enough. And when I do, I feel incredibly lucky that we got to be a part of it. And I'm so happy that it's continued because I love everyone on it. I love everything about it. So it's been a dream.
One of our favorite recurring characters is Jen the babysitter, of course, voiced by where did that particular voice come from?
I think it just is an exaggerated or simplified version of my own voice, which is quite nasal and always has been. Like when I was in my 20s, I got I knew someone who worked at a company that recorded like books for English learners, and they hired me to do some of the like talking, and you say like, I'm going to the park, or whatever, what we all would hear in like French or whatever language we were learning. And I was very surprised because my voice is so nasal. I couldn't believe that I got the gig to do it because I have a bit of a nasally voice. It is not smooth. Like I'm not going to be Siri, you know what I mean? And I did it like 4 or 5 times. And then my friend who worked there was like, well, they told me they actually meant to hire a different Wendy. So like they had accidentally hired me. And I was like, that really checks out. Like I wasn't even mad because they had already paid me to do the work. And I was like, that doesn't make me mad. So I never thought that my voice would be recorded on purpose again. And to have I think I actually subbed to play this babysitter, and I did this silly voice at the table read, and then they just used me, and it was so small at first, it was such a small little thing that I have pencils in my purse or whatever. It was such a little, it was, not too many lines, because the writers don't tend to be in the show. But I do sub a lot. I've subbed. I am extroverted. I have somewhat of a performance background. So I would sub, but I wasn't subbing to like try to get parts. I think that's why they have writers sub, is because writers know you're not like auditioning for the part. You are subbing until the real actor comes along. And Jen just somehow like made Lauren laugh a little, so they just stuck with me, and so that's how that kind of came to pass. And I did it like twice, and then it went away for a long time, and then she showed up again a couple times recently, which like personally not having like the performance ambition is the thrill of a lifetime for me. Do you know what I mean? Like to be a character that anyone has heard of is beyond my wildest dreams. And so like it's like this little bonus in life that I got sort of accidentally. So I'm just happy to do it. If I never do it again, okay. If I did it again, great. Because I think it's just fun, fun to be part of the universe.
Folks absolutely love the character. They keep asking us, we need more babysitter, we need more Jen, we need a t-shirt, we need X, Y, and Z. Like we can't do anything.
We do need a t-shirt for sure.
Yes, microwave is my only contribution.
Well,
to the
that's
culture.
A household term in our house. It's like,
I know I've heard
heat up my pizza. It's like, would you like me to use the microwave?
Somebody sent me a Reddit that was like about the microwave thing, and that was like just in the moment in the booth that I said I don't know how to use a microwave. It wasn't like written that way, so I'm like, I did one thing. I did one good thing with my life. I said microwave, and that was it. That was what she did. Put a fork in me.
Yeah. Lizzie, do you want a voice character, or are you kind of, no, I'm good behind the scenes?
I did voice a lady in a grocery store in uncredited. I say that pineapples fell on someone. I think it was like a last minute. They were like, shoot, we never put anybody's voice in here. And so that's me.
But who did sing the song "Jar Full of Teeth" from Great North was Lizzie.
I did sing "Jar Full of Teeth."
Oh, nice.
Which I will say for me, yes, as a choir member of the drama department.
Brag.
Yes, very brag. That was a dream for me to be like, I got to sing a song on TV. So that will be my one good thing. Is that I sang a song one time on TV.
Yeah, I said microwave. You sang a song one time on TV. Who cares about our children or any other things we did accomplish? That's it.
I can't put your
one
kids
line
on
obituaries.
So real quick before we head into our Great North questions, which we have plenty because we love the Great North. One question for Bob's. What was it like to attend the movie premiere? We got to go as fans and it was an absolute blast. We could only imagine what it's like for you guys working on it from the beginning to get to go and see it and be surrounded by all those people and fans.
I mean, I'd say for me, it was, I almost felt like a fan attending it myself. We had, of course, been involved in some of the steps along the way, but with COVID and we had all gone home and been working from home, we were just kind of seeing less of that side of things and also seeing all of our coworkers less. And so for me, it was like, I'm so excited to see this movie. I thought it was like, I laughed, I cried. It was great. Like, it was just such a nice, also it was right when we were like able to do things again a little bit. So I was like, this is the best night of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really obviously sort of surreal, but at the same time felt right. I mean, I think, having come up on the show for so long and seeing the way that Lauren and Nora just never take their foot off the gas in terms of always wanting the show to be good, always trying a little harder, always, always rewriting something, trying harder to get it right, adding a little bit of music if something's not popping, like all that stuff. I mean, I like seeing them work, and I think them doing a movie makes sense in terms of the fact that, they've always tried so hard to make the show good for the fans. And so being able to do a movie and somebody saying, hey, do you want a chance to do a movie, felt right for them to have that opportunity, and like cool to see it come to pass. And of course we all worked on it, but they were the leads on it and all of that. And Bernard, who all always like worked so hard to always like shape and fine tune the show. And so it felt like, if you can be happy for people in Hollywood, and I think you can, I think it's good to, is like to see like those guys get a chance to like shine in that way. Felt really nice too. And then my kids just really liked it. And so that's another thing, like to see them like really respond to the movie. My 7-year-old for some reason is like obsessed with it. And I'm like, that's so great. Like to have kids continue to connect. He made like a little video of some of the scenes. He likes to act them out. And so it's like nice to see like even kids who weren't born when this show started connecting with it. And the movie, I think, has been a nice way to kind of goose that in a way, because kids like to watch the same movie over and over again. I tend to find, so that's been really fun. That's been really fun for me to see them get.
So seeing Lauren and Nora and the whole crew go through what they had to make the movie, is there any desire in the future to make a Great North movie?
Oh, we're way too soon for that, guys.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, we know, but
if presented with the opportunity.
I don't know. I mean, I literally wouldn't say anything about it now because it's just so, I think that is the thing, like TV shows and especially animated TV shows with 22 episode orders a year, you are just grinding on to the next moment and just hoping to like sort of keep whatever is right in front of you good and whatever's
on the
right.
rails.
Yeah, thinking about what's right behind you and keeping everything that's right ahead of, we have so many episodes. Sometimes when I forget something, I'm like, oh, wait, why am I mad at myself? I literally have all 22 right now at this moment, 22 episodes from season 3 that are about to air in my brain still. And then the first, however many we've broken 8 of season 4 that we're working on now, that's 30 episodes of television, trying to keep track of them all at the same time. So I'm like, Oh, yes, sure.
No room for a movie this season.
No. Way too soon. Way too soon to think about anything like that. You have to be really seasoned. The show has to be really seasoned, I think, to be at that point.
Well, that segues us nicely into The Great North, which we think is a show that just, for some reason, it gets better and better every episode.
Yes, it does.
Sometimes there's like shows have a lull in the season, but from like episode 1 starts off strong and just
goes
rocket ship to the moon. It's been amazing. So when did you actually start working on The Great North, and what was the how did that idea come about?
That was our first panel question, but we didn't get it. We weren't fast enough to get in line.
Oh no!
So you didn't get a fart shirt?
We got a fart shirt. Yes,
we did get the shirt.
Okay,
so we're excited with that.
All right. I think we started in 2017, so a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I think we just, it started really with, Lizzie and I have a long-term, sounds like we're married to him. We're not. Megan is. It sounds like we're married to Nick. We have a long-term relationship with Nick Offerman, in the sense of like an artistic relationship, because we have, I was a writer on Megan's talk show back in the day, a long time ago. And that's how I met Nick. That's how I met her. We always, he's done voices on Bob's, but when we started formulating the show, he and Jenny Slate were two people we were really interested in working with, such distinctive voices. They weren't leads on Bob's, so that helped. And the idea of them as a father-daughter duo kind of quickly emerged. And, we're from a big family, a family of 5 kids. And so, we also then quickly were like, okay, what if this is a bigger family? What if she's the only daughter? And then Lizzie could probably take it away about kind of the Alaska piece of it.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of came in, we sort of had this rough idea of that father-daughter relationship. And, I think in Jenny's voice and sort of imagining her as this teenage girl, she does so many voices and she does everything so amazingly well. And on Bob, she's, she plays Tammy, and she's very, she's very specific. She's a little mean. She's but there's also like that sweet sort of earnest side of Jenny and her voice that I think we loved, and I think maybe identified a little bit of ourselves in, as like how we felt as teen girls, that we were like a little more artsy and like a little, not as cool maybe as Tammy. We spent some of our childhood in Indiana, which felt, a sort of a piece of it was built into that, of sort of feeling like you want to get out of this sort of smaller town where people don't know about, all of the plays that you want to do and things like that. And so we started thinking about, where would we want to set this? Bob's is so specific, and some of the other animated shows, are all kind of feel a little bit more of like middle America. And so we landed on this idea of maybe of Alaska. I had been a few times. My brother-in-law lives up there, and it feels like just such a different place when you go. Vibe. It's so beautiful. And, there's a lot, I think, to play with there, with just things that it wouldn't be as easy to do with live action, with all the wild animals and like the beautiful scenery and all of that. And then, but it still sort of has, in a way, that feel of like, it's, it's a little bit more, parts of it anyway, are more small town, it's like people who live there do tend to, kind of love doing the outdoor stuff and kind of being into that, side of things. So it just, that, kind of came up as an idea, and then we kind of ran with it, and each piece of it sort of kept coming along, of other voice talent we liked and other characters we wanted to explore, and then eventually it just molded into what it is.
Very, very cool. Yeah, I've always loved the backgrounds in the Great North. Bob's has like the cool little city structure, but like the Great North is just beautiful. Yeah. All of the cool like background shots, the sunset sails, and like all that stuff is just really pretty, and it's like, this is really well done.
Yeah, we're lucky to have, I'm sure you guys have talked to so many of the artists on Bob's and directors.
Yeah, Maggie was one of them.
Yeah, nice. Maggie's our head of color now, and we get to work with Derek Schroeder, we have Will Strode's our supervising director. Mario's on our show now. I mean, we Karen Heidendahl, who's done a lot of Bob's, Neil Graff, and why can't my brain think of,
because they're all really good.
Oh, and Michael Bayless, who's on for this season again. I mean, great directors, the artists are incredible, that's what really like brings the animated show to life too. It's like I can't draw a star shape, so like it's like you're so reliant on the crew and on the artists, and they've really like helped the Great North become something that's even just visually recognizable. You know what I mean? When you look at it, you're like, oh, it's different from Bob's.
Oh yeah,
it has its own look, and there's so many people that contribute to that, and it's just wild for me to see as someone who doesn't draw. It's just an amazing. It's like seeing people do magic tricks all the time.
As the showrunners, did you get to would they bring pictures of like Judy's room, character designs? And you're like, yes, no,
yes,
tweak that. That's cool.
Yes.
That's so much fun.
Yeah. And I think we have to ask for help on some things to sort of say like, why isn't this popping? Why doesn't this like make your eyes feel happy? And I think that's the important thing is to, for story and art to work together on these shows so that, it's sort of one hand washing the other, so that you like, at spots where we are weaker, we can have, someone who's an expert in that little piece of the art puzzle kind of fill in the blank there for us.
Since we do have season 3 starting up on Sunday, because will we get to have some really, because I think last Comic-Con you introduced all the voice actors that were going to be coming on, and I don't remember if we did it this time. So I'm curious, is there someone really special we get to look forward to?
I mean, there's a ton of very special
you guys
people.
had an awesome list last year. I was like, wow, that's impressive. Yeah,
we are always, thrilled about the voice talent that we get on the show. I mean, we have, in the season premiere, we have Murray Bartlett doing a guest voice from White Lotus. We were very excited to get him in, obviously, such a big fan, he's such a huge talent. Wendy, help me out here. Who else do we have? It's always so hard for me to remember everybody within the season.
I think one thing that's really exciting about this year is, the number of Native actors that are joining the staff for, we get to meet more of Kima's family. We have Princess Johnson playing Kima's mom, Brian Westcott playing Kima's dad. Our casting department's done an amazing job in, finding Alaska Native actors for us to cast, because that's always been something that is a really important goal of the show, is to be involving more Alaska Native actors in the show. And so you'll just see a ton of people joining the cast this year that we're really excited about. And then, a lot of the people that we just love to have on the show. I think John Early's back, Wyatt Cenac's back, sort of like a murderer's row of comedians that you like to see and hear from, are back on the show this year. So that's exciting. It's one of those things that as a show goes on, you are going to settle a little more into the people that are there. There's fewer new. But yeah, I think we've continued to have really fun guests. Rob Delaney's back as Beef's brother. All of our sort of some of our greatest hits from the past 2 years are returning as themselves.
I just hope JK comes back. I do enjoy Tuss Johnson as much as possible.
Tusk is very fun. Yes.
Now we did speak to best friend of the show, Kevin Avery, and of course, the Refrain. And we're hoping Jarvis makes a small cameo.
I do love Jarvis.
I believe Jarvis is in the second episode that will air this year.
Yes,
the second or third.
That is.
So nice. You will see Jarvis. Yeah.
Yes, Kevin.
And I do enjoy that you guys, I know you're bringing in Alaskan actors, but the authenticity has been talked about. When we had Joel Moser on, he's like, we had to nail the curling. That episode, I did research, we asked people, we made sure we nailed it. And there's a lot of that with the moose licking the car for salt. There's been little details that everyone's like, no, that's a thing.
I think, it's sort of the fun part and the challenge of doing a show set in Alaska, which we are not from. I have been, but it's not sort of like our expertise by any means was, I think the fun part is sort of learning about the area as the show goes on. We want to make sure that people watching in Alaska are like, okay, that feels right. Like we're always, I think when we're writing episodes, we'll say like, we don't want someone coming on Twitter and saying, wait, this isn't exactly how this happens or whatever. We want to make sure we're doing our best to always make sure it's authentic as much as we can.
Yeah, so. As much as we can. I will say there's a little space, I think, where you have
there's always artistic license a little bit.
Well, and also like it's sort of an imaginary Alaska in the same way that, it's funny because like I'll watch Stranger Things and because we're from, but I'm much older than Lizzie. I'm as old as the hills. So I lived in Indiana longer before we moved out here, but I am from Indiana and lived there in the 80s. And so like little things, Stranger Things we'll be watching. I'll be like, Mall wouldn't be that crowd, and like my husband and my oldest son are like, you're very annoying. And I'm like, I know. So like, I'm that person to other shows and I'm like, I'm so annoying. But, I also understand they are creating an imaginary Indiana the same way we are occasionally creating an imaginary Alaska as well. You have to have some artistic license or you would be absolutely driving yourself bonkers.
Just checking and checking. Yeah, it's too much.
The attention to detail is not going to notice. I think the show was covered on ESPN or
for the curling. Yeah,
for the curling episode. And they were praising the show, saying they nailed this, they nailed that. Maybe not this part, but they were like, "This show's fantastic."
Right. The discussion of the scoreboard for curling was hours and hours of our lives talking about the scoreboard.
And Reddit, someone posted like, no, the bartering thing is totally legit. Like people do that stuff. They get on seaplanes and go to different airports, like little airports and barter for things.
Yeah. I mean, that's the fun part is that like there's there are so many interesting things that are real to Alaska. I think that, not that everyone isn't necessarily totally aware of that. It's like so much of that is really fun for us to find out about it and figure out, how do we get that into an episode? It's actually really fun to always be learning new things about it. So I think that's a really fun part of it for us.
JB, I saw that you wrote a joke into this next question. Do you want to take it?
Oh, I did. Real quick, one real sidebar question. Is there anyone that you've asked to do voices that have said no? I don't mean to call them out, but anyone that's on the list that you would love to get that you haven't got yet?
I think there are always those sort of swing for the fences, like major stars that people pitch and you ask and you see, would they possibly do it? And the answer is often no with those. But that's true of Bob's and Great North. And I'm sure everything else, people will start by being like, what if we asked, Tom Cruise? And it's like, well, we're not going to get to him. Like, he's not even going to like, it would go to an email that's like 25 emails away from his regular email. Like he probably has like a pretend agent masquerading as his agent just to keep people like us away from him. You know what I mean? Like people like that. I think there's no, but also, I think the thing that's great about animation is it's all about the voices. Like, because you don't see the person on screen, you may have those little disappointments. You're like, oh, wow, I wish that really, really famous, busy person would do this. But sometimes it's that unknown kid at UCB who just has an incredible voice that winds up being like, wow, that really made this episode. So so I'm not going to name any names of people who've said no, but I can think of several off the top of my head just from Bob's, maybe less so the Great North.
20 names that Lizzie, I have a problem with because they said no. I mean, I think, we're always just excited, we're fans of so many people that we have gotten on the show that we're always just like, hell yeah. Like when we have our Zoom table reads, we'll just be like, look at this. Look at all these people that are doing voices on our show. This is amazing.
I will say that, we did have Patty Lupone on last year and then she went on to win the Tony. We had Murray Bartlett on, and even though his episode hadn't aired, he did win the Emmy. Adam Godley, who is on, was nominated for I'm not saying that if you do our show, you will definitely win, but you will definitely be nominated for a large award the next year. Yeah, we're kind of a good luck charm. So if any actors are listening who are very, very famous, but feel like there's a hole in like their EGOT system, come on the Great North. We
Well,
like
Tom Cruise
somehow
watches
maybe the haunting of the old bento box building, like somehow we acquired a ghost who helps with those things. So come on the Great North and you will probably get a Tony, a Grammy, an Oscar, an Emmy the next year for something else entirely.
So should we imagine that season, like maybe season 5 down the road, Dovey Diggs is the new theater teacher for you guys?
Oh, well, you guys know I'm not allowed to be around them. I've gone over that. So no.
It's a requirement. No.
I have to be like in another like city. And Lizzie can record. I have a thing about the Hamilton people. Like Rory O'Malley was on too, and that's same. And he was so nice. He was like, if you come to the show again, like come backstage and we'll show you around. And I didn't, because I was like, I can't. Like I will say or do something so absolute, like I will bite Rory O'Malley. Like something will happen that is not right if I'm around the Hamilton.
Gonna be
cast.
Linda, where she's like, say cold front, say cold front.
Yes. I know my limits, and my limits are don't be around Broadway actors. Like we recorded Patti LuPone remotely, and that is good because I would have snipped a lock of her hair and like smelled it.
Yeah, no, that makes
I would have done something untoward if I had been in the room with Patti LuPone because I'm obsessed with her. So yeah, I'm not allowed to be around Broadway actors, period. End of story.
I'm just holding out hope that Andrew Rannells makes a appearance on the Great North.
Oh yeah, I have been, not to brag, I have been around Andrew Rannells in person a few times. So my Andrew Rannells system, I think I could do it without snipping a lock of his hair. Yeah, I've been desensitized. Nothing bad has happened. I didn't like try to rip his arm off and take it home with me or anything like that. So I think I'd be okay. So
you're a better person than me then.
Yes, Andrew, if you're listening, come on because your Grammy awaits. Great North.
You're not going to get it for the Book of Mormon. Don't worry about that nonsense.
Nope.
Yes. All right, I'll do my dad joke, Mike. It's fine. I'll do it real quick. So
I know this has been queued up for a long time. I'm nervous.
So, what is the story about you being able to get Alanis Morissette to get to join the show? Was it ironic that she did say yes?
You did it.
I've been practicing real hard and embarrassed that kid so bad.
Not everybody. Yeah.
I mean, like it's really not an amazing story. It's truly just that we wrote it with Alanis. We wrote her in to the pilot, and then we said
we just willed it.
Can we get Alanis to do this? And it was like, I don't know. Like it wasn't like, yes, absolutely, she's dying to do this, before we knew, and we had it, it got sent to her, and she was, up for it. And I mean, I do remember like the first couple of times we recorded with her, that is probably my, like, that's my Broadway star situation. Like I felt like I couldn't like really breathe well, like when we'd get her for records, because I was like a super fan. Her album came out and I was like 12 or 13, and it was just like, I was like, this is the coolest, like this is music, I get it now kind of thing. And so every time we'd record her, I would get a little, like I would hyperventilate a little bit. I've gotten better now. I've also been like desensitized to Alanis being on the show, but I mean, she's so funny. Like it was just like, it's so great to work with her.
We did get a little boost in that we know this other amazing writer performer, this woman Joanna Stein, who happened to personally know her. And so I believe when I spoke with her, she reached out and she told Alanis I think just the base level of, you should read it. They're normal, whatever normal means. Do you know what I mean? Little did she know that I was going to try to take a bite out of Rory O'Malley backstage at Hamilton. Good thing that wasn't the thing that was said to her. But so I think that was our one little boost of like just someone who knew her basically being like, please read it, like you'll like them. So that was like a little, sometimes you just need that little extra bit of little push from someone to vouch for you, right. I think. Yeah.
No, everybody knows if you have to say they're normal, then they're totally cool. So
Oh yeah, it's fine. We're fine and normal. Don't worry about it.
That's sort of how we get introduced now on a lot of things, like panels or anything in interview. It's like they're normal.
Yeah, but the person's doing this thing. They're normal. Like that. They always look like that.
Before you come out,
Yeah. It's fine. Fine.
So you've been on Bob's Burgers since the beginning. What was Lauren's response when you told him, "Hey, we're doing this show"? I assume he was encouraging.
I almost imagine him being like a father and being like, "Oh, that's so awesome for you guys."
Well, we developed it with him, and he's an executive producer on it. So that's kind of how, these situations kind of occur a lot of times. We have some writers on our show now who are developing their shows that we would be EPing on. That a lot of times it's like a show grows out of a show because the boss and the writers like to have that kind of relationship already. And so, we developed it. He gave notes on the early stuff. And, eventually always it becomes more like then the people who are
I can think over. But yeah, I mean, we had actually talked to Lauren for years, I think, about working on developing something in animation with him. We we're in a deal for a long time, and we always were, developing, and I think we just loved working in animation. We obviously loved working on Bob's, working with Lauren. So it was kind of this situation where it was like, this could be the best of both worlds in so many ways, where we would have, a show that we worked on with him to sort of set up and get us, he was so obviously amazingly helpful in, all the early stages, development pieces. And so I think it, it's something that we had talked about for a long time, and then it just kind of all came together with Great North and ended up moving forward. And it's a long process, so it was like we talked about the idea, and then we did, we developed it a little. You take it out, you do a little presentation, which is like a smaller, couple minutes a piece of animation of that first script. And so, it was a longer process. And it was, really great to have his support and his eye on everything as it moved forward.
Yeah. And this was because Lizzie and I have been in a deal for so long, every year we would have like a live action pilot. They rarely got made, but we'd have to write them and blah, blah, blah. Not have to, get to, but Lauren was always like, so what, you guys would like leave if this goes? And we were like, I guess, I mean, we're in a deal, so we got to generate product for the company. Yeah. But this turned out to be the perfect thing, because in this scenario, we didn't leave Bob's. I mean, we still write to a year for Bob's. We're still involved in the room on Bob's. So it wound up being like, for us too, because we were always, we would do the best we could on our pilots, obviously, but that's a tough side of the business, live action pilots. But we were always a little filled with fear of like, oh, so this would mean we would leave Bob's. It would be like, moving away from your family for good. So this kind of worked out for the best for us, and that we get to, grow and stretch and do this show. And at the same time, I am still literally be on the second floor above Mom's and still, it's still right. I mean, we just finished, we just finished writing 1301. So we wrote the first episode of season 13. Wait, what's numbered as season 13, as you guys well know, it winds up 13 is airing this year, but 1301 is just being written right now. It's like, we're off because those first 2 years were just, 13 episode cycles. And so we're on you guys know it's not interesting. Not interesting, Wendy.
No, it is cool. A lot of people don't know that stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So
we just, I think, know because we have, each of us has like one script, and we're like, oh, the numbering. And we kind of asked Mario, and he told us about it. So
yeah.
I feel like I even forgot that, Wendy, as you were saying it. I was like, oh, right. Like, it's always been a little complicated. And I feel like I'm not being in the room looking at the boards every day and the numbers and what season we're in. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. Great North essentially syncs up like 301 for this year when season 3 starts, it is number 301. So it's like essentially synced up, but Bob's is always a year off.
Yeah.
And then in the numbering. So yeah.
So when it comes to, this was our other Comic-Con question that we had for you, was when it comes to tackling like LGBTQ plus topics, is that something you guys set out to do from the beginning, or is it something that came from the writers group and from you? Like, how did this just kind of happen? Because it does it in such a good way. Mm-hmm. And it's really wholesome, and it's just great how it's done.
Yeah, I mean, Ham was always gay. Like there was no, it was always part of our plan to have some things about this show that, broadened the types of characters being presented potentially on Sunday night, as main characters. And so, Ham, we knew from episode 1 that Crispin and Ham were actually going to wind up together. When Judy sees Crispin and stops and flirts with him, we knew already that this boy was going to turn out to be Ham's boyfriend. And so we always kind of had a plan for that. And we just think it's really important to just be inclusive across the board in animation. Like it's literally, sometimes I look at fantasy shows who are like, well, we can't have that kind of inclusion. It's like, why? It's fucking imaginary. So I think that's our approach to this show and animation in general too. I don't know, Lizzie, what do you?
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely our intention from the start. Obviously, what you get, we hired writers and we have our room, and they, also bring as any writer does, their own experience to characters, to episodes, to shows. So we've, of course, had a lot of influence from our staff as well, in the stories that we tell and how our characters develop. But that's always been our goal, I think, is to just, as Wendy was saying, animation is, I think, just it's just a medium, I think, that has such a diverse and interesting fandom. So many people are into it, and I think it's grown so much. And even from the time we started on Bob's, just with streaming and everything, there's so much more animation. So I think it's for us, it was always important to just keep reaching out to different people and audiences and individuals, and making it a place for everybody, and that's something that everyone can enjoy. So hopefully we'll continue to do it.
Doing a fantastic job. It's
Oh,
so
thanks.
refreshing to see, and this is something that happens in Bob's Burgers and Central Park. The shows aren't afraid to show a family who, while they have their issues, do love each other at the end of the day, and they get along, and nobody's the butt of a joke, or so killing it, absolutely. So
thank you.
And a lot of the writers have told us, like, they've come on and written and just like, oh yeah, it's just like you do little jokes and stuff like that, and they'd be like, we'd go to the writing thing and they'd be like, so good joke, but how do we make that a Great North joke? It's like, how do we take that edge away? It can still be a joke, but make it nice. And they're like, it's actually hard. You have to really learn how to do this. It's a skill.
I guess Bob's and Great North and Central Park have that, where it can be a hard joke, but it can't be a super cynical joke.
Yes.
Yeah.
It can't be like a nihilistic, like things actually are awful and can't get better joke. Like I love those jokes. I make them all the time in my regular life.
Dark comedy is great.
You can definitely be that guy in that. But like, there's in Great North, it's almost like the wholesomeness is the joke. Like that Beef constantly has this like wellspring of like, he, has this wellspring of optimism that things could be good, is sort of, and that they all get into, like, there's one episode where they all like, they're super enthusiastic about going to a place just called Whipple's Pickles and all the things they want to do there. And it's like, it's sort of corny in a way how interested in going to Whipple's Pickles they are, but that's more of the joke of Great North, just not to overanalyze it or whatever. Like it's not about, like, a lot of shows, and in a fun way, get a lot, like the comedic engine is that they dislike almost everything, you know what I mean? And that's funny to me. I like those shows very much, but that's not what this show uses as its comedic engine. So it's just a different vibe. Turns out there can be all kinds of different shows.
Mm-hmm.
So much like what we're calling the extended Lauren Bouchard universe, you have Bob's Burgers, The Great North, and Central Park. Music plays a big role in all these shows. We've had the pleasure of interviewing Scott and John, who helped work on the music for The Great North. How did that come about, that collaboration between you and them?
I mean, really, it was, we have an amazing music team that does so much for Bob's and for Central Park. I think
is that the Daisy boys?
Yeah, the Daisies, Angelica, Emily. We have such a talented team of people. But when we started also doing music, I think it was necessary to bring even more people on, just because Great North Central Park is, I mean, it's all music. It's like it's a beast. Those shows are just, I mean, it's like they're doing a full musical every time. And we ended up talking to John, and I think he sent some stuff along that we listened to kind of blindly, and it felt like, wow, this really feels like it's the sound that we've been hearing in our heads for the show, and really like he captured it. And then Scott, I think, came along with him once we hired John on, and we also started doing all of our end credit songs, and it's so much fun to work with them, with the whole music team. It's just, Wendy and I love doing music. We've written a lot of music into our Bob's episodes. I think it's, we both did some musical theater in high school. Wendy did more in college too. So I think it's, we love it. We think it's so fun, and it's so fun to sort of get an idea for a song, write the lyrics and tell them kind of what you're feeling it should be in your head. And then when you get that demo back from them, it's like, it's amazing that they can sort of take our ramblings and make it into, exactly what we are looking for. So I would say it's just been so much fun to do music on the show.
Is there any plans to put the music up on a streaming platform, Apple Music or Spotify, anything like that?
I just think because we've only actually aired for like a year and a half, there really hasn't been talk about those kinds of next steps yet. You know what I mean? I think sometimes it's like, because we did grow out of Bob's, that it's like, we should be that. Where's that piece of it? Like people are already like sort of, but all those things I think cost money and time and whatever. They want you to get a little more like mileage before I think the network and the studio start talking about those types of things. So for right now, we're just like concentrating on making the show the best it can be. And if anything grows out of that, that's awesome. But just trying to put like the best episode that we can out every week.
So season 5 double vinyl album.
I know Lauren already knew like all about that stuff. I think Lizzie and I came into all this, Bob's and this, with less musical knowledge, obviously, than Lauren, who plays like 85 different instruments and like walks around with a ukulele, which on other people would be obnoxious, but on Lauren is charming. So, I can't pull it off. If I walked around with a ukulele, everyone would they would pick me up and put me in a garbage can. So I think we'll learn about all that as we go. I think what those, if and when those steps were ever to occur, we would learn about them.
I definitely know you have the support of a lot of fans. They ask all the time if we think that should happen. We're like, of course, it'd be great. And I think they're waiting for it. So when it happens, it happens.
We'll see.
Well, it would be exciting if we could get to that step. So, I mean, fingers crossed, I think. Of course.
So you guys earlier this year signed on to work a few more things and did an extra deal with 20th and Disney, which included possibly some new future shows. Are we going to see some expansion in the animation block from you guys, or
we have hope for it in the future? Yeah, I mean, we have a few things we're working on with some of our Great North writers. But like we said, it is such a long, it's a long climb to an animated show. And then we have, within our deal too, we have a couple of live action things that sort of are in some process of development. But yeah, we've worked with 20th in an overall sense for most, like, our entire careers. So it's just exciting to sort of go, there's some other voices that, have come to our attention through Great North that we've been lucky enough to start the process of development with them too. Where that goes and where it ends, who knows? But we'll see which things catch on.
It'll be interesting. We're always excited to see more of the expansion from you guys and Lauren's universe into that realm, because it's always good stuff.
Yeah, and it's some of it, can come out of, like sideways that isn't animation or whatever, like, Kelvin Yu's show, American Born Chinese, that's going to be on Disney Plus. To us is very Kelvin and very, it comes from this like really interesting graphic novel and has a lot of action elements and stuff. But it's like, oh, is that necessarily where you thought the writer for Bob's Burgers was going next? You would think like another cartoon or whatever. But I think, someone being, good at writing Bob's Burgers then led him to this like totally other type of show on a different service or whatever. And that'll be interesting to see. It's fun to see people like kind of popping out in all kinds of different directions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Fun. I'm just here to promote Kelvin Yu's American Born Chinese, watched on Disney Plus. I am Kelvin's agent. I don't have enough to do. So I was like, Kelvin, may I be your agent? He said yes. Or maybe he said no, but I was like, made me think about it again. And I, was very scary about it. I had my full Frankenstein makeup on again. And so
I think he just wants to see.
Eventually he said yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So with each season of the Great North, and they're at this point, have only been 2, we've noticed subtle changes in the opening credits. Is this something that'll carry on into season 3 opening credits? No spoilers, of course, but
I would say watch them very carefully on Sunday night, and you will get your answer.
Yeah, we'll see if anything has come to pass.
Fair enough, JB.
Let me see where we're at here.
16.
16. Thank you, Mike. Would you ever think of doing a Lone Moose live, much like a Bob's Burgers live?
Again, I think that's one of those things where it's like, oh gosh, we're still trying to get people to watch the TV show. I think if we did a Lone Moose live right now, people would be like, oh, what? Like, what the fuck is Lone Moose? So I think we just need to focus on getting those eyeballs on the Great North. And then from there, who the hell knows? I will say we do have some stand-ups on our staff. They have been talking about doing like a little Lone Moose comedy night, but just like our writers who are stand-ups doing like a night at the Elysian or whatever, which is a small theater here in town. And I'm all for that. I think that'd be very fun. But I don't think we're at that point where we're like, we go to the Wilter and they're like
Charlie Kelly's working on his stuff.
Yeah. We got Charlie Kelly. We got Brian Bahi. We got some others. Yeah, we got some.
I think JB and myself in our small little circle, like we love the Great North so much. We're like, so clearly everybody else does. Everybody else knows about it. We know about it.
Well, I remember that was when like the second year of Bob's Burgers, I think I was in Las Vegas. I didn't have, or maybe I just had a kid or I was pregnant. I don't know, but, or maybe it was like 3 years into Bob's even. And I was playing poker and someone was like, well, what do you do? A stranger who's just in Vegas. I was like, I write for Bob's Burgers. And they sort of looked at me like, okay, like, sure. They were like, what is that? And I was like, it's a TV show. And they were like, okay, like it was like as if I were making it up to impress a stranger in Vegas. Like no one knew it yet. Like these things do take time. And so, yeah, right now we're very focused on our first step, which is watch the Great North. Step 1, we're on square one of a very long path. So
we are trying our best to do our part to let folks know about it.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it.
So, and this is a fun question because JB and myself, we both have siblings, so we're kind of curious about this. You both have worked together as writers and now showrunners for so long. What is the secret to the working relationship? Again, we both have siblings. We know sometimes that can be a little contentious, but how do you all make it work?
I mean, I think we benefit a lot from our sort of placement in order in birth order in the family. Wendy is the second oldest. I'm the youngest. So there's two other siblings in between us. So we didn't have like a ton of time as young kids, like sort of that in that competitive space of like fighting over toys and clothes. We kind of had our own, closer siblings to do that with, age wise. So I think, that I think helps on, I think a lot of people who have siblings that are closer in age, that's sort of the space they're coming from. And also, I think for us, it's such a benefit because we have, grown up in the same family. We've watched a lot of the same things. We sort of have that, language, of things that we find funny and, all of that sort of built in already. So it makes like working together at times easier because I think we just sort of speak the same language. It's a bit of a shorthand. Right. But Wendy, I don't know. You're like, I hate it.
Can you imagine if I revealed this here? I was like, well, guys, actually, it's not working out. And I'm glad you guys brought this up because I have a big problem with Lizzie that I wanted to talk about. No, I just think Lizzie's funny. I just think Lizzie's funny, so it makes it easy. Because, we have a method of working where like one of us will write an act and send it to the other, and then you rewrite that act and add another act on. And it's genuinely fun to get, act one of our Bobs from Lizzie. And then I would say writing partnerships, the downside is when you're starting out, and even now you split your paycheck. The upside is you split the stress, you split the madness of some situations. Luckily, Bob's and Great North aren't maddening situations, but we have been in them. And there's somebody who like you can look across the room at and be like, "Fuck is going on?" Yeah. Like that's very helpful at certain times in entertainment because you'll do like a crazy roundtable punch up for some movie sometime where like there's a man in the room who is repeating your jokes each time you say them, and we could like go to the bathroom together and be like, what the fuck is happening here? Like, so that's fun. But yeah, like she said, like, we met at home. I thought Lizzie was very small, but nice when I met her because she was about, I'd say probably 7 pounds. So I didn't feel intimidated. I was a full grown child and I was like, okay, this is no competition for me.
You grew up in a very tough place of Indiana.
Come on, so there was no competition there. I was clearly, 70 pounds and she was 7 pounds. So, that dynamic persisted for a while. And now, while our weights are not as far apart, we are, we're still not competitive. I think that's the thing is that people often like, Hollywood's fucking competitive. It is. Of course it's competitive. You're competing for jobs or whatever, but at the same time, it's sort of not a competition. Like everyone is so specific. Every writer is so specific. If you don't get a job or something like that, it wasn't yours. Sorry to say, so I think it's like, it's a tough thing to go through, but like, in a partnership with your writing partner or when you're on a writing staff, I think the less you can view it as I'm competing with these people and the more is like, oh, I'm one little piece of this puzzle or whatever is helpful. So I think that dynamic between us or between us in the writer's room or the writers on Bob's is very helpful. It's helpful to have that mindset. So that was probably a long rambling answer to that.
So Shorty, you like your sister?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
I like
nice.
this sister. I like my other sisters too. Shout out to Jenny and Maggie. Shout out to my brother Richie.
Yeah.
But a 5-person writing team would probably not get hired. If we all went together into some sort of blob, I don't think people are hiring.
We'll
5
split
people.
our check 5 ways.
5 ways.
Split one lunch. I think we could have gotten on some staffs with that.
Oh yeah. If we said we'll take 1 tender greens for 5 people, there's no way they're saying no to that. There's absolutely no way.
Yeah, you're getting hired.
Yeah. Yep.
Coming this fall to Fox, a live action comedy. 5 siblings, 1 show. So as we get ready to kind of wrap things up, I've got a closing question for you. You guys have a movie coming out on November 14th.
18th.
18th. Sorry, 18th.
No, that's 18th. Good. The correction will help them remember it more.
November 18th.
November 18th, not the 14th. Don't watch a movie then that's saying it's by us because it's not. It's a fraud.
It's a lie.
It's a lie.
The people we hate at weddings.
At the wedding.
At the wedding. I'm terrible.
The people we hate at the wedding. No, this
I'm
is
gonna let
good.
them
The
take it.
corrections.
They're got
This
it.
is good marketing because as I'm correcting you, it makes it more memorable. It's creating a
Wendy yelled at me. Now I know
friction.
now I know the title.
Yeah,
Now. She yelled
I
at me.
know now. I know. So, what is the premise, and what can we expect to see in the movie?
Well, it is based. It's a comedy, and it is a wedding comedy.
Yes.
So
it's a family wedding comedy, based on a book by Grant Ginder, that we developed, and it, like I said, and then it got made. I say that that seems
That's
a
simple.
crazy thing to say, but we've worked on other projects in our time, and never have seen anything come to fruition. So we're very excited about it. It will be on Amazon, November 18th. It's a comedy. What else?
Wait, let me tell you who's in it.
Oh yes, that's important.
Yes.
I was just like, you'll see this because
Before I butcher
words.
that,
Allison Janney, or as JB would say, Malison Jabby.
That is correct. I have it written that way.
Ben Platt, or as JB would say, Beb Plip. Kristen Bell, also known as Christine Bunk.
Julian Bell.
And Cynthia Adai Robinson, who's currently in the fucking Lord of the Rings much. She's the Queen Regent. So get ready for that. She doesn't play a Queen Regent but she is regal. My God, she's a regal actress. She is so elegant. I don't even know what to do myself around her. And wait, I'm forgetting somebody. Karan Soni is in it. Mm-hmm. And wait, I forgot somebody else who's in it that I'm forgetting. Who am I forgetting? Oh, Dustin Milligan from Schitt's Creek.
Thank you.
Who's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say Dustin Milligan, and then I was like, that's not his name. That was his name on Schitt's Creek. That's what my brain was doing, but that wasn't his name.
You've turned into JB.
I have.
Oh no, this is a reoccurring problem. At Comic-Con,
home again.
I made a total fool of myself.
Oh my God.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
What do you mean? You guys are too easily embarrassed by yourselves. You have to learn to get rid of all your shame.
I did, but it was bad.
What was it?
We were getting the booth set up, and like it was the first night there, and super tired. Get there to set things up. Computers aren't working. We get that fixed, and then Kevin Smith walks by, and I'm like, "Oh wow, it's Kevin Smith." No, that's not what I said. I was like, "Oh, that's Jay."
No,
I'm like, no, that's Silent Bob, you idiot. No, and then he like looked back and he's like, hey, I'm like, oh, like totally, he's gonna remember that for the rest of the day, like that idiot.
I don't know. I feel like that's a compliment when someone is like, you remember them as
somebody else.
Yes, somebody else.
You're that
but
guy.
You remember him as the character. You might have switched the characters in your brain, but that's I feel like I would say that for many actor. I would just be like, you are the person from my favorite movie, and this is the character you play.
You're that guy who plays that thing.
But it wasn't even his character. He called him the wrong name and the wrong character.
I did.
No, I'm trying to smooth it out.
There's no shame in it. It's okay, Lizzie. I appreciate it.
Sit in his shame.
I've accepted the shame.
No, I won't let you feel shame for this.
That's my job.
You did a good job.
I know. I'm trying to think of the thing that I feel most shame for that probably nobody cares about. Nothing's coming to mind, but probably only because there are hundreds of thousands of examples. Like I actively feel shame about things I did in like second grade.
Right. The shame cup runneth over.
Oh, it runneth over.
Shame wizard
it
is alive and well.
Strong. Yeah. Especially when you're falling asleep at night.
Oh, when
you think about something you said like 13 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Yeah. Or sometimes just earlier that morning.
Yeah. Right. Or both. I mean, why limit yourself?
Oh yeah. I have 37 years of shame to recall.
Yeah, I got a filling redone in my mouth, guys. Surprise. It wasn't a filling somewhere else on my body. That would have been breaking news if I had cavities elsewhere. And I have a lot of anxiety about dental work, but the whole time, like I was going insane, but then I was like, oh, I'm making them feel so bad that they're doing this to me. So I was just like going around and around of like, oh, do my eyes look too fearful? Am I making this dentist and hygienist feel that they are monsters? And I'm like, they're not even, they are focusing on pulling my cheek back to put the fucking filling in. They don't give a shit about my facial expression.
Yep.
Like what?
Like that's
guys?
just the Novocaine. That's fine.
Yeah, we need a whole other podcast to just go through our shames.
Oh,
Oh, good. My offshoot. We'll do this.
Yeah. From shame to shame is what it's called. And you just go in circles talking about the same things over and over and over again.
I'll just mispronounce every guest. It'll work out great.
Yeah.
Challenge your shame.
So as we wrap up here with our final question, we want to thank you again for giving us all your time.
Yes, thank you.
Of course. That was delightful to talk to you.
Happy to do it. Thank you.
Is there anything, perhaps Kelvin show, that you would like to plug or let the folks know about?
It's called The Great North.
Okay.
It is on,
Watch
on Fox after Simpsons, but before Bob's Burgers. If you like it, tell someone to watch it. Thank you. That's all I have to say. Lizzie, what you got?
I would also say it also airs
yes,
on Hulu.
What does, Lizzie?
The Great North, the show.
Okay.
It's an animated show called The Great North that airs on Fox on Sunday nights. It's going to air this coming Sunday night, the 25th. You can watch it then. You can watch it the next day on Hulu. You can also stream all of the episodes from season 1 and 2 right now this week. You could do it. You should catch up.
It's good.
And then you'll be ready for season 3. And that, I think that's all there is to plug.
Yeah.
Also watch Bob's Burgers.
Oh yeah.
Right after it.
People we hate we hate at the wedding.
Yes. November
18th on your Amazon Prime streaming movie feature.
Not Hulu.
Not on Hulu, that one.
Not,
no, we're going rogue.
No.
Yeah.
So again, thank you for saying yes. I literally did not expect to hear anything back. So this was amazing for both of us. And we've been looking forward to it for weeks now. So thank you for sitting down and giving us as much time as you did. You did not have to do that. And we really appreciate it. And we wish the best to you guys with your new projects. We hope to see them soon. And also, Great North cannot wait for season 3 and 4. We'll be the biggest fans for it. And when Great North Live comes out, be sure to give us some tickets. We'd love to come out and see it.
Are you kidding me?
Did you just say give us tickets?
Please.
Oh
I think
we'll give you tickets.
No, we will buy them. We will.
We will give them to you.
No, you're not
I
buying
won't
those.
let you buy them.
Imaginary tickets.
Yes.
If we get so far as having a Great North Live, it will be my pleasure to buy tickets for you and your entire family and their families.
So, yeah, we'll fill out the DFW where this is held.
Okay, perfect. Thank you guys for having us on. It was a delight to talk to you, and thank you as always for your interest in the shows and reaching out to the fans, because there was a time when when even Bob's Burgers felt like, hey, it's a one little show in a huge landscape, and it's the fans and people like you guys who care about the show that make the difference. So thank you so much.
Thank you. We're excited because this year we held the Bob's Burgers fan meetup, but next year we're extending that to the Great North fans as well. Nice. So one of us will be Bob's Burgers, one of us will be Great North, and we're going to try to blend that all together. So
thank you.
Our mom will be at that one for sure.
Ooh, that'll be fun. We've had the Daisy's mom. She's jumped on and said hi during interviews.
Meeple art. I love the Daisy's mom. Love her.
It was a lot of fun.
Well, again, thank you for all your time.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. What a delight. Thanks so much. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Yes,
hopefully.
Absolutely.
We'll be at Comic-Con. We'll see you guys.
All right.
Good night.
Thanks.
Night.